Welcome to The Explainer. So, just last week, President Trump hosted this landmark dinner at the White House. And what happened there signals a major shift in the world of technology and politics. And it all really starts with this one image and its pretty striking caption. We're talking about two figures who have very often been at odds, right? And here they are, sharing a laugh.
I mean, a scene like this would have been completely unimaginable just a few years ago. Which brings us to the big question. What changed? How did we get here? Okay, let's dive into it because the answer reveals this fundamental shift between Washington and Silicon Valley.
And that whole change, that entire pivot, can be summed up in two simple words.
Strategic realignment. See, this wasn't just some friendly dinner. This was a calculated move, a fundamental pivot in how Silicon Valley engages with Washington. It's all driven by the race for AI dominance, the desire for favorable regulations, and, of course, landing those huge government contracts.
And this really illustrates the change perfectly. We've moved from the past, a historically contentious relationship with big tech, to the present, which is all about cooperation on AI and technology policies. It's about serving mutual business and national interests.
So, who exactly was in the room to forge this new alliance? I mean, the guest list itself tells a really powerful story.
In total, 33 of the most influential figures in technology and politics were gathered together. This was a very hand-picked group, essentially shaping the future of American innovation. And get this, among those 33 attendees were 13 billionaires. Just think about that concentration of wealth and power. It made this one of the most financially significant gatherings in the history of the White House. You had key players like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, pretty much the face of the whole AI revolution. He was there seeking administration support for these massive infrastructure projects, like the $500 billion Stargate project. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg was there. His presence was hugely symbolic, seated right next to the president, and he was the very first executive called on to speak. I mean, that's a major signal of a thaw in their relationship. This meeting even drew figures like Google's Sergey Brin, who had kind of stepped away from day-to-day operations. Now he's back in the fold, focusing on, you guessed it, leading Google's AI efforts. It just shows you how high the stakes have become. But, just as important as who was there is who wasn't. Two of the biggest names in tech, Elon Musk and NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, were conspicuously absent, and each for their own very different reasons.
So this summit wasn't just about photo ops, it was about securing real, tangible commitments. This is where we get to the money and the message.
When Trump asked him directly, Mark Zuckerberg announced Meta's commitment to invest a staggering $600 billion in the U.S. through 2028.
And then you had Apple's CEO, Tim Cook, who was also there, reinforcing his company's recently announced $100 billion commitment to domestic manufacturing. And Google's Sundar Pichai also added to the pot, announcing a $1 billion commitment for education and job training, with a significant portion of that aimed directly at AI. Now, the praise was just as significant as the pledges. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, for example, lauded the administration's supportive policies, calling them crucial.
And that same sentiment was echoed by AMD's CEO Lisa Su. She highlighted the incredible acceleration in the super important semiconductor industry under the administration's approach. And maybe most surprisingly of all, even Bill Gates, who's had his policy disagreements in the past, praised the president's leadership and expressed a desire to collaborate on innovation. That's a huge shift.
So, what does this all mean? When you put it all together, what is the big takeaway from this really historic dinner?
Well, essentially, what we're seeing is the formation of a powerful new alliance. It's built on massive investment and this shared goal of leading the world in artificial intelligence. A new era of cooperation is definitely here. The meeting has really set a new course for technology and policy in America, leaving us with one final, crucial thought. A powerful alliance has absolutely been forged, but the real question is, what will it build?